Jumping into a text breakdown where we're gonna be going over everything that happened from the moment we matched with the girl, how to flirt, escalate, start to sexualize the interaction as well, and then everything that goes on all the way up to setting up a date and getting the girl's number. So the conversation starts out with us commenting on the girl's picture saying, "You look like my future ex-wife," with a winky face. The girl comes back and says, "I thought I recognized you." He then comes back and says, "We're getting a prenup and I'm keeping the dog though," which is a great follow-up message to kind of keep this role play idea going on that like you're gonna break up with her but you're keeping the dog. She then says, "No, you can have full custody of the kids that you begged me for. I'm keeping the dog and the waffle maker." So you can see that the girl's like clearly engaging in this role play and she's going on with the joke. At which point he then comes into the instant response feature inside of Quip, and this is the message we crafted for him, which was, "You know the kids won't leave the dog behind, blank," which is her name. "This is why it never worked between us." And then she comes back and says, "It never worked because I caught you flirting with that McDonald's waitress. I will see you in court if you don't give up the dog." Again, still going with this role play, but pretty soon it's gonna have to shift off of this role play and get into a little bit more flirtatious conversation. He then comes back and says, "I told you there was nothing between us. I kept going back at that particular McDonald's because they do the best Big Macs." Although it's not directly flirting with the girl, you could see that the role play that's going on is the dude being a high status guy who's got other women attracted to him. Okay, so this is kind of an interesting situation, but it's still effective because it's implying like pre-selection. As ironic as this sounds, it also is implying that he's cheating on her with another woman. No girl actually wants that done to her, but when it's in a role play situation, it's actually triggering pre-selection. So it makes it flirty, it's a little teasing, and it's just a unique, spicy interaction so far. And like I was saying, the role play is good, but at some point it does need to get off of this role play. You don't want to just keep going for 1,000 messages talking about some like made up world. At some point it should become more realistic and more flirtatious too, I think. So the girl said, "I saw you, you can have her anyway. The dog and I have left the country, you'll never find us." At which point he comes back into instant response. This is the message that we gave him. "Shame, the makeup would have been phenomenal." The girl doesn't respond. Now, we give it a couple days, and then the follow-up message was, "Unless you disagree." This is a good example of what to do when the girl doesn't respond right away to your message or your advances. You don't need to get like butthurt or weird about anything. You still just act entitled and have the follow-up message kind of like as a dude who's expecting an answer. She says, "Not at all, but you'll have to remind me how good the sex was before," which is super positive. The girl's coming back, falling into the frame about the makeup sex would have been phenomenal. So you could see how the conversation has escalated very quickly here, going from like an innocent role play to introducing the idea of makeup sex being phenomenal to the girl agreeing and asking for a reminder about how good it was. He then comes back into instant response, and this is the message we crafted. "You don't remember the time I dragged you across the bed by your ankles and kissed you passionately, sucking on your nipples nice and slow until you became nice and wet? You begged me just to shove it in, but instead I mercilessly teased you with my blank. Finally, when you couldn't take it anymore, I slid inside you, your back arched, my hand pulling on your hair, your legs collapsed, shaking from pleasure." She says, "You never fucked me like that. Must have been one of your many side things." He comes back and says, "We need to sort this out," with her name. And then she says, "Well then fuck me like that and we won't need to go through this divorce. Think of the children." At which point he comes back, "Gladly. Remind me, do you like wine?" She said, "You don't even know me. I love wine." So at this point, all you really need to do is just like move it forward. All he says is, "Good. We should split a bottle sometime soon." She says, "I think we should too. Do I still get the dog?" And then he says, "That depends how persuasive you are over wine. Shoot me your number and we'll sort it out." What I like about this last part is that once the girl's agreeing and it's clearly on and positive, it doesn't even need to be this on, like sexually. But once the girl is agreeing to just meeting or agreeing to the idea of a drink or the idea that we should meet up sometime soon, just move it forward. Cut the BS and just get to the point about the number exchange. She then says, "Oh, you should know I'm very persuasive over wines. I always get you to do what I want." And then sends the number and said message on the app. And that was it for that breakdown. So you could see in this example how to go from the moment we matched and then the idea of injecting some playful, funny role play that the girl starts participating in and engaging in, and then that role play escalated to becoming flirty, the idea of the guy hitting on another girl, and then the idea of how phenomenal the makeup would have been. And then once the girl started agreeing to that and falling into that frame and going with that role play, it was only a couple messages after that until it got to the point where the girl was saying, remind me how good you would fuck me, or remind me how phenomenal the sex would be. And then she pretty much started closing us, which is ideal situation to be in. If you're texting the girl and she's agreeing to already having sex or wanting to have phenomenal makeup sex, and then hinting at the ideas that you guys could meet up, I mean, you can't get better text game than that, honestly. Okay, so that's that breakdown of how to go from the moment we matched to making things flirty, to using role play, to escalating to a sexual topic, getting the girl to agree to that, and then transitioning into the idea of meeting up for a drink, and then number closing, and then messaging her outside of the app. If you enjoyed this content, if you want to learn more about text game, online dating, social media mastery, check out my brand new mobile app. The link is in the description. It's called Quip. Okay, you can download that right now. I'm gonna teach you everything you need to know about these concepts. There's also live weekly coaching calls with me, and there's also the instant response feature. So you can upload screenshots of your text interactions, of your dating profiles. We'll analyze your screenshots and give you the exact messages that you need to send to the girl to get a perfect response, to get her out on a date, so you get more women and more dates going on in your life. All right, download that right now. The link is in the description. That's all for this video. Until next time, Coach Kyle signing out. Peace out, guys.